This is the story of the wise man and the foolish man. These two men decided one day that they each wanted to build a house. They both stood on the beach, looking out at the sea, and decided that they wanted to have their houses facing the ocean. The first man found a spot on the beach and decided it was perfect. Therefore, without hesitation, he grabbed his tools and bricks, wanting to start building as soon as he could. The second man chose to do something different. Instead of beginning to build immediately, he took his time and planned out on paper everything he needed to do. By the time the second man had finished his plans, the first man had already created the first layer of his structure. The second man was not bothered by this and went to grab all of his tools to start his own building. As the first man was fitting his windows and doors, the second man had only just finished laying down his foundations on the rock. The second man finished building his base layer, just as the first man was adding the finishing touches to his house on the sand. The first man was convinced that he had made the right decision to build his house on the sand. After all, he was finished, when the second man, who had chosen the rock, was only halfway through. He was able to sit back and enjoy the view, relaxing while he watched the second man building his house. He felt very smug. Eventually, both men finished their houses, but suddenly a huge storm blew in. The winds battered and the sea roared. The waters rose, and both of the houses were faced with floods and rain. After the storm had passed, it was clear who had made the right choice. The second man's house didn't fall. In fact, it stood strong because it was founded on the rock, while the first man's house was completely flooded and destroyed as it was built on the sand. So even though the first man's house was faster and easier to build, it fell down, while the second man, who took time to plant his foundations, had the only house left standing.